Welcome everyone, Anime Kyle back to react to another chapter of My Hero Academia. Horikoshi was on break last week, but he's back now for chapter 284. Last time, we had Shigaraki and Deku facing off. Shigaraki was about to decay all the heroes around him when Deku leaps up with Black Whip attached to all of them and Shigaraki, and they were floating as we ended last chapter, 283. So without any further ado, I'm going to open the app and jump right into chapter 284. So on the first page, we've got Deku still up in the air, holding everyone, as he thinks if Shigaraki touches the ground again, it'll mean another wave of mass destruction. I gotta keep him up in the air. And then you see Deku's Black Whip start to flicker a little, it looks like. As he says, no good, my controller is shaky. And he's still just thinking that. I don't think he's actually said anything out loud. And this chapter is titled Deep Blue Battle. Don't know what that means. Are we going to go to the sea or something? Okay, Deep Blue Battle. Deku drops everyone off on the ground beside Shigaraki and him. And he tells them to take care of Gran Torino and the rest. Endeavor yells to Shoto, they need first aid. Now get to it, Shoto. And then he thinks to himself, how pathetic. The number one hero should be up there. It should be me. Bakugo, looking real worried about Deku, tells him to hang on. You're the one guy who needs to keep his distance from that creep. He's no longer being held back by Erasure. Bakugo is real worried for his homeboy Deku here. Deku shouts back, but who else can keep Shigaraki off the ground? These reaction shots from what Deku just said from Bakugo and Endeavor, you can really feel it. Like, they realize that they can't handle Shigaraki right now. So then Shigaraki, with this joyous look on his face, you know, his face has started to regen, so like, I don't know, he's looking weird. He's still got like wrinkles around his eyes and everything. He says, you like the sky that much? Good, because after I steal one for all, I'll send you straight to heaven. Same goes for that old fool and the others down there. And an angry Deku responds, you're not going to hurt them anymore. We'll see about that, Deku. I mean, try your best to stop him. Go ahead. So then we got Deku and Shigaraki reaching their arms out to each other as they're approaching each other. This look of worry on Bakugo's face as the next panel zooms into his eye. And then I think we're cutting to a flashback here. In the middle of Shigaraki vs. Deku, Horikoshi can't resist himself. And we're going with a flashback. So the flashback starts with, you want us to help with his training, as we cut back to UA. And then Sero, Ochaka, and Froppy are speaking in unison saying, so what should we do? And then All Might responds, thanks for taking the time to be here. Deku says, I'd like some advice about handling my new power. Sero says, you mean Black Whip? I thought you were whipping like a pro already. And what's with the new do? As we get a panel shot of Afro Deku. Deku is rocking an afro today for some reason. He says it's because I keep losing in a training exercise we call catch a Kacchan with a Black Whip. Haven't caught him once yet, actually. I wanted to ask you, Sero, about dealing with fast-moving targets since you have a similar quirk. And then in the panel it shows Deku trying to grab Bakugo with his Black Whips as Bakugo explodes him in the face, and apparently that's what causes Deku's afro, is the explosion to the face. And Bakugo's just sipping on his water bottle as Ochaka is worried for her boy Deku, saying, but why do explosions come into play? Once a jerk, always a jerk, huh, Bakugo? And then Bakugo says, Deku's the one who said to make it like a real battle. And then Ochaka's all fired up saying, then tell me what I can do. I'm still learning how to use my wires. And Sarah says, and shouldn't Aizawa-sensei be the man to teach whip techniques? So, All Might says, Professor Uraka, You're here to teach him about body control while breaking in midair. She responds, but Deku's already good at bouncing around, like hippity hop. So Froppy's referring to him as a bunny, like his first hero costume where he looked an awful lot like a bunny. Well, more power means increased hang time, I think All Might is saying. And they're like, oh, and he needs to master advanced mobility in the air. As for Aizawa, your teacher is busy at the moment. So this was when Aizawa went to, I can't think of the person's name, Tartarus. This is when Aizawa was at Tartarus with Kurogiri, finding out Kurogiri's real identity. So Deku's saying, I've already got everyone's moves written down, Sensei's too. I think we can find some common ground in terms of how we use our bodies. As he's looking at his little hero notebook, still being the fanboy he always was. And then we got Deku and Ochako. Ochako's ponytail looks really cute here too, by the way. And they're floating, and she tells him to imagine you're swimming through the air, but keep your arms and legs balanced. Good, good. And Deku's like, oh, so this is how it works. And then he starts propelling himself around using Air Force. And Ochako's like, there you go, you got it. And All Might says, now stay up in the air and get some coaching on Black Whip. As All Might retreats back to a bench where Bakugo is sitting down. Bakugo says, it's going great, huh? All Might says, the float quirk suspends the body in midair, much like her zero gravity. Getting a feel for it ahead of time should help him keep it under control. When it manifests, plus conceptualizing what it feels like to fly could lead to unlocking it. So as a lot of people predicted, Ochako was kind of the key to helping Deku get the feel for float so he could unlock it and not be completely surprised and have no idea how to use it when it first manifested. Like when Black Whip first manifested and it just kind of exploded onto the scene. And then we got a panel shot of this gang Orca water bottle. Horikoshi doesn't usually waste panels, so I don't know what the significance behind this one is, but there's got to be something important about this water bottle. So Bakugo and All Might are sitting on this bench together. All Might looks funny to me, I don't know. But Bakugo says, you can't keep fooling people forever. This ain't like when it was just super strength. And then Ochako's telling Deku to keep his back straight. As Sero's telling him, don't launch it, imagine stretching it out. So Bakugo continues saying, pretty soon the cat's gonna fly out of the bag. And All Might responds to him with, I'm not telling anyone about anything beyond Black Whip, and this training should prevent the next power from exploding out the way this one did. That night, you seem to understand how someone who has great power bestowed on them needs to think very carefully about how it puts others at risk. It's not only the wicked who seek power. And then Bakugo kind of reflects on that. All Might reflects. And Bakugo tells All Might that Deku trusts you with his life, but in the notebook about the successors, your summary of the fourth was kind of half finished. Only that one. Meanwhile, you wrote down detailed notes for the others, like the cause of death for the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Why is that? So All Might's withholding information from Deku here, and that really worries me. Deku's reckless, and I know All Might worries for him and doesn't want to put him in danger, but the fate of society is resting on this kid's shoulders. You can't keep things hidden from him. He needs to know the truth. Alright, anyways. Bakugo says, and then when I brought it up, you didn't tell me everything, huh? Well, what is it? Did you figure out something about One For All? And then you can see the darkness in All Might's eyes as he says, not yet. I don't want to speculate and talk about things I'm not sure of. And then he's got a almost disappointed look on his face in this next panel. Because I'm worried for him. You are too. And Bakugo looks a little angry about that. He just, deep down, he doesn't take himself into account, you know? He's always been like that. And now that he can do so much more, something doesn't feel right. It makes me want to keep him at arm's length. Back then I ignored my own weakness, so I ended up bullying him. All Might says, but now you're sincerely helping out with his training. That's your way of trying to atone, right? This character development for Bakugo, like, alright, I've always liked Bakugo, but this character development, Horikoshi, like, I don't like having this flashback in the middle of the main battle of the series, all for one versus one for all. But if it's for character development like this, okay, I'll stop complaining now. Dude, Bakugo, admitting his own flaws and trying to atone for them. That growth makes me so happy. That's good writing. Alright, so the next page, Bakugo saying, oh no, Deku's saying, precision over power, nice and easy, I get it. Think of it as an extension of your body. And then Bakugo says, though I'm sure he doesn't see it that way. All Might says, when I said you and Endeavor are a lot alike, I was talking about that change. He couldn't take a good look at himself either until I wound up like this. You'll get a chance to talk eventually. Not that I'm in a position to say much. I kind of get the Endeavor to Bakugo analogy. Yeah, they were both kind of bullies and realized what they were doing was wrong, and now they're trying to atone for it. But comparing a 16-year-old kid to a 30, 40-year-old abusive father that's made a lot of mistakes, it's a little bit of a reach, All Might. Alright, so now we're cutting back to present day. Bakugo flies up to Endeavor and says, you gotta make this final one count. And then Deku looks like he delivers a kick to Shigaraki as he's got him tied up in his black whip still. And then Shigaraki braced, so it looks like he guarded some of that hit. Deku thinks, looks like he's adapting to my 100% attacks and taking hits, but his wounds are healing slower. This damage is sticking. So then Deku throws his black whip out again towards Shigaraki, and he pulls himself back towards him. The last two 100% attacks wrecked my left arm. And now his left arm is the one that he wrecked against Muscular, if I'm correct, the one that's got the scar. So Deku's looking quite scary as he's coming behind Shigaraki now. He thinks Shigaraki now possesses one for all, or all for one. And one for all is a power passed down for the sole purpose of beating all for one. He has to go down here. And then Shigaraki's looking a little worried as Deku keeps thinking, now's the moment to let it all out. Everything that one for all has to offer. Then we got a nice double page spread to end the chapter. No matter what happens to me, as Deku uses his right arm, I think, to deliver that punch to Shigaraki's gut. And the next chapter comes out on September 27th. Okay. So that was chapter 284, titled Deep Blue Battle. Still don't really understand where the title comes into play there. But we didn't get much of the present day battle. It was mostly a flashback to show Deku training his float and black whip some more. We also get the character development from Bakugo, admitting to why he kept Deku at a distance and why he bullied him as a kid. And how he's trying to help him now to atone for those mistakes. And then we've got Deku delivering a few hits on Shigaraki, maybe sacrificing his own body in the process. So we'll see if he's still got both arms by the end of this battle. Right now, things are looking all Deku, but I think that'll probably change in the coming weeks. Unless this whole 75% thing really is the downfall of Shigaraki, and he's going to need Gigantomachia to come in to save the day. But anyways, I want you guys to tell me what you thought about the chapter, if you don't mind. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. I will be back, I think it's next week. September 27th. Yeah, that's 9 days from now. So, next Sunday I'll be back. Thank you guys, and may Kyle out.